Welcome to Pickup Game. I'm Seth Greenberg, and this is the Pickup Game TBT edition, where the championship game will be played tonight, ESPN, 7 o'clock, against Sideline, Cancer, and Golden Eagles, the Marquette alumni team. But prior to talking about the game and having Eric Thompson and Marcus Keene visit with us, before every show, we really want to make sure we thank the essential workers, the first responders, the people on the front line that are basically making the ultimate sacrifice each and every day to help others. And to me, I say it all the time, it's a great example of a great teammate, giving up a little bit of yourself for the good of the group. And these people have been so selfless. And now with the pandemic expanding and certain states becoming hotspots, it is even more important that we help them do their job. And what I mean by that is we need to learn to be comfortable being uncomfortable. And if uncomfortable being uncomfortable means wearing your mask, wear your mask. If comfortable means being uncomfortable, and you know what? Practice social distancing. If uncomfortable means being uncomfortable, then you know what? You can give up a little bit of the things that you're used to for the good of the group. It might be your aunt, it might be an uncle, it might be a brother, it might be a grandparent. But we've got to have some discipline in this country. Wear your mask, make good decisions so that eventually we can beat this thing back until a vaccine obviously comes to fruition. So I'm excited about this week. I'm excited about the TBT. It's amazing what they've been able to accomplish. John Mugard, the founder, Albert Hall and his staff at Hall Pass Media, Tupelo Honey. We've had 10 incredible days, and now our 11th day is a championship game between Sideline Cancer and Golden Eagles. And if you think about Sideline Cancer, this is a team that gives up a little bit of themselves for the good of the group, because a portion of the money being won, if they're able to win this game, is going to go to the Griffith Family Foundation for pancreatic cancer. And to me, that just tells you the type of people that are on this team. And I'd love to bring in two guys, Marcus Keene, or as I call him, Marcus Elam, because he absolutely is incredible down the stretch of the Elam ending, been absolutely terrific. And Eric Thompson, who has been a monster, maybe the most dominant front court player in the whole TBT. I mean, he's been incredible. I mean, he gobbles up rebounds. For the old people, he gobbles up rebounds like Pac-Man. It's a joke. I mean, it's just, if that thing's coming off the backboard, it's like a pass off the backboard to this dude. I mean, he owns it. So guys, tell me, first of all, 11 days since the tournament started, what's your best memory of from quarantine to today? Marcus, how about you?
The best memory in these 11 days is still being here after these 11 days. Just being able to, be with these guys and, not being able to do much, but, play 2K downstairs in the team room or, go to practice. But just being here still after 11 days of this tournament going on is probably the most amazing thing that's happened to me.
Big E?
I'd just piggyback off of Marcus. We've been a team. We've been fighting together. And it's been fun. It's been honestly fun playing with these fellas.
You guys have played in close games so far, almost every game except Boeheim's Army. What makes you guys so good down the stretch, especially, let's face it, the Elam ending? There is so much pressure. It's almost like the wind sucked out of the arena when it comes down to the Elam ending. What makes your team so good down the stretch?
I want to say toughness. I think we're tough. We have a lot of underdogs on our team, so I think we know going into, the Elam ending and going into these games, we already want to prove, the world wrong. So when it gets down to the Elam ending and it's like, yeah, they can't run the clock out, we can't run the clock out. You have to be tough. You have to grind it out. Either it's on defense or executing right on offense. And then, we got big shot makers. Myself, Remy, Mo. Jamel, we got big shot makers on that team, and I think that's what you need in this tournament, especially coming down to the Elam ending, that making shots when the game is on the line and being tough.
How about you, Big E?
I have to say playing together and not toughness, just to kind of, because this has been the best team I played with all summer, because it's the only team I played with all summer. And also last year we came back because playing the Eagles last year, we had a bittersweet feeling after losing to them in the finals. So now we get the opportunity to play them again, and we're ready for it.
there was two plays early in the tournament. Actually, I think it was against Team Hines. We're back-to-back in the Elam ending. And Marcus, you can remember this. First time you came down off of that ball screen, you dragged two, and you dropped Big E a terrific little pocket pass. He caught it, finished, and the next time they switched it. And Hap played loose, and then you just pulled up and shot down that jumper. What are you thinking about when you're coming off those ball screens? What are you thinking about, Marcus, as you're coming off those screens?
Just being able to attack and reading the defenses. The bigs, most bigs are, kind of slow on your feet. So when I'm small and fast. So when I come off that ball screen, I know E is rolling, but at the same time, I know I can attack that big with a change of direction, speed. And once I get by him, if I could get a layup, I can. But then, teams have been sucking in on that, and then that's when I get the kick out. Or if he stays back, like how I had the game winner against Team Hines the first game, I was able to hit him with that crossover, which made him change directions, which gave me the space and the opportunity to get that shot off. And so that's what I look on the ball screen, just to attack, because I know I have that advantage off that, and just make the right play once I get by the or once I get into the paint.
Hey, tonight, you've got this Golden Eagles team. They're extremely athletic. You might have to end up chasing Wilson around a little bit because when they go small, what do you think you have to do tonight to help Sideline Cancer win?
Rebound and defense interior, and also communicating is the most first important thing out there. It's basically holding our team together on defense, and offense will come later on in the game, but majority is the defensive end for me.
Jermaine Marshall was a member of this team, very close to a number of you guys. Jermaine passed this past year. What does he mean to you guys? And do you guys talk about trying to do something special for him?
We haven't. I never had an opportunity to meet Jermaine, but I heard a lot of great things about him, and it's been an honor to even put on this jersey to play for him, and also the Griffin Foundation. So to be honest, we just go out there and play our hearts out there for the Griffin Foundation, also for him.
Yeah, basically the same thing he said. I never actually got to meet him as well, but just when somebody a part of this team, started with Sideline Cancer and then then passed away, and then just to put on that jersey and play for something bigger than the name on the back of my jersey, and that's what's the most important, because I always play for the name on the back of my jersey and my family, but now I'm playing for the Griffin family. I'm playing for the Sideline Cancer family. I'm playing for Jim and his family as well, and so just.
Marcus is so quick, he froze us. I left my feet, and he went by me. He can probably have to. So, E, let's finish up with you. What do you have to, as a team? Have you guys sat down and said, all right, Coach Parker, these are the 3 or 4 things we got to do to win?
We're going to actually talk about that later tonight, actually in an hour. But as a team, as the players, as we talk in the group chat, we said the first and foremost thing we're supposed to come out was energy. Match their energy. If they don't match ours, we come out with ×2 energy. To come out the first 3 minutes is the first important 3 minutes of the game, and also in the last minute of the games. Because, when you have a slow start, you'll be catching up throughout the whole entire game. So the most thing you have to do is come out strong, punch them in the face, and also it's going to be some haymakers during the game, but learn to weather the storm and stay tough throughout it.
What about just the whole experience of being in quarantine, playing in front of no fans, yet you guys play with incredible energy? What's it like to be in quarantine for this long a period of time with your guys and then come into that arena knowing you're playing for $1 million? I mean, you're playing for one game, one pickup game in the park, $1 million right there on the sideline. When you walk in, I mean, and you're walking into this arena, like when you go to the park, let's face it, there was some dudes probably watching on the side, but you're just playing and competing to win.
Yes.
The difference between that and now rolling in today in an empty arena for $1 million, has that even crossed your mind?
No, sir. The only thing is right now is going out playing this game at the best of my ability. That's the only thing is bringing it back for the team and everything. That's the first and foremost. Bring energy, bring focus, and just keep God first, and also just thank God every day and stay ready for it, the moment.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Your team, what you guys have been able to do has been absolutely terrific. I'm going to ask Marcus the same thing. This will be the last one, Marcus, and I know you guys have some meetings.
Okay.
You play pickup your whole life.
Yeah.
When you stay on, you lose, boom, you go home. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you go play pickup in a gym. Back in the day, we played outdoors. You guys like air conditioning. Your life is good. But you go play pickup, you win, boom, you stay on. If you lose, you're out. Right?
Yeah.
You play parks where there's been people, sometimes parks where there's no people. You're going to walk into that arena tonight in front of no one except the national television audience. And if you win, your team's winning $1 million. What goes through your mind?
That the money doesn't really go through the mind. The thing that goes through my mind the most is that I can finally call myself a champion. I was just in the Taiwan League where I lost Game 7 in the finals, so I wasn't able to be a champion. I haven't been a champion since probably AAU days. You know what I'm saying? High school didn't get a ring. College didn't get a ring. Professional 4 years now have not gotten a ring. So to be in this TBT and to play for this and to play in this championship and to be able to hold that trophy or take a picture with that trophy and to be able to call myself a champion is what's most important to me. Yeah, the money is all as ideally and stuff like that, but I don't want to think about the money. I know my team don't want to think about the money because I feel like that would, throw us off and, we'll worry about the money. But at the same time, we get to call ourselves a champion. We get to be TBT champions. This thing has been 6 years going or 7 years going. And to be, put up on that banner for the following next year and to be respected and not be a 22 seed next year is what I really care about the most.
Let me tell you something. Your guys' attitude's great. I always say winning and losing is a byproduct of how hard you play, what type of teammate you are, and how much trust you have in each other. And watching you dudes play, you fit every one of those things. Winning and losing take care of itself because you guys play so stinking hard. You believe in each other. Everyone plays to their strengths. So, best of luck. Best of luck to you guys. I mean, it has been so much fun calling your games, watching your games. I'm just so happy for you. I'm happy for the foundation. You guys are what the TBT is all about because TB is about TBT to me. People don't realize it's about a family. It's about a family. Once you guys are part of this thing, you realize how cool it is. And I'm honored to be part of the broadcasting, but you guys are great. So good luck tonight. Enjoy it. Have fun with it. Stay in the moment. Get lost in each other. Get lost in your teammates. Get lost in the moment and play well.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having us on the show.
Thanks, guys.
All right. See.
Those two guys are really, really impressive. Let's switch teams a little bit. And first and foremost, I'm not sure if the whole crew from Golden Eagles is ready to go, but I think Coach Crean is ready to go. And Coach Crean's got a little skin in the game on both sides, although he's got more skin on the game in the Golden Eagles side. So, Coach Crean, thank you very much for being with us. You got two guys on that Sideline Cancer team that you recruited really, really hard. In fact, Mo Creek, you beat me for them, and Remy Abel. So let's go to their team because I know you watch all this stuff. What's your impression been of the TBT?
Oh, I love it. One of the great thrills was a couple of years ago going to Atlanta and seeing the Golden Eagles play, and the Ohio State team was there, and Jimmer Fredette's team was there. Like, that was awesome. And if it was different right now, I'd be there tonight. I'd have just found a way to be there. I mean, it's just too much fun to watch it. We don't miss any of the games. Our family sees it even when we're not together. We see it. We look forward to it. And it's been fantastic. It's an incredible opportunity for a lot of highly competitive basketball players to still play on a monster stage for a great cause and to keep showing why people love them so much when they either coached them like me or played with them or were in school with them or got to follow them and go to the games. It just keeps bringing back great things. And it's awesome to me to watch just how much guys are continuing to get better. And when I think of Mo Creek and Remy Abel, I look at two guys that are continuing to get better as basketball players every step of the way right now.
I'll tell you, you're right about that. The interesting thing is, like, when guys are younger, they're just trying to figure it out. And, they're more concerned about their role and shots and other things. When they go overseas, like, you got to play to your strengths. All right. You got to embrace a role and you got to be a winning player. Because if not, as you know, you get shipped right home. So, I mean, like, to me, seeing guys grow and the basketball, what do you think? The basketball IQ of the TBT and the players in the TBT, to me, has been really impressive. What's your thoughts?
Well, I think the IQ is huge. You see very few bad shots. You see very few situations where guys are going and trying to do it on their own unless they have a matchup or an isolation. And there's some of that, but there's a lot less of that. And you contrast, like right now, we've been able to see some online basketball of different tournaments, high school kids. And you're watching these kids that are trying to figure it out. And all of a sudden it's this bad shot, that bad shot. They don't block out. They don't make the next pass. Because obviously some it's because we've been away from it because of the pandemic. But they also don't understand the value of teammate, right? And when you watch the TBT, they truly understand the value of your teammates. You are not getting it done by yourself. And it's fantastic. Like I'm watching the Marquette game the other day, and that ball movement was phenomenal, right? I mean, absolutely phenomenal. And Travis Diener comes in, is missing the whole time, and he comes in right away. He's not trying to score. He's a 38-year-old man. He's moving the basketball to open teammates. And then all of a sudden he hits a big three. And I think that's what the game continues to teach you. The more that you realize it's not about you and it's about how you impact the game when it's not going well for you and how you impact your teammates is the main difference between winning and losing.
Well, speaking of teammates, I'm going to bring a couple guys in a little bit, and that's Travis Diener and DJO, Darius Johnson-Odom. I think they're going to pop up on the screen. DJO, before I get to you, Diener, it's amazing the ability to come up with the right quote. Each and every interview is just absolutely incredible. The quote the other day, what are you going to do? What are you doing in quarantine? We're hanging out with the fellas, we're playing cards, we're playing video games, and we're drinking beer. I mean, that could be one of the great quotes in the history of the TBT. Can you explain yourself?
Well, I mean, just being pretty honest, as grown men, stuck in a hotel, we're trying to enjoy our camaraderie, build chemistry, and through that, after games, you're watching other teams play, you're playing cards, video games, anything you do to build that chemistry. So drinking some adult beverages is what we do as well. And I think it's pretty standard throughout all these teams. We just, not being away from your families, there's no distractions. You're not allowed to commingle with other teams. It's forced us in a very, very positive way to get close to each other. And these 2 weeks have been a blast for me. I think it's been a blast for our teammates, my teammates, and I think it shows on the court.
I'll say this, Seth. Thank God we chartered when Travis played. Thank God we chartered around. So we didn't sit around in the hotel after a game. That would have been a scary thought.
Darius, last year you played obviously with Boogie. You switched back over to your alumni team. What's this experience been like?
It's been great. How they prepare, and playing with guys that you went to school with, that you already have some kind of camaraderie with. It actually makes the game a lot easier, and it's just been a joy being around these guys again.
Your team chemistry. I mean, how much of the stuff that you guys did, especially Travis, that you guys did with Coach Crean, are you guys trying to kind of assimilate into how you guys are playing right now in the TBT?
I don't know about necessarily playing. I think the way we're preparing is a direct reflection of Coach, and obviously Joe played for Coach, and I did as well. So a lot of the stuff we've learned throughout the years in as far as preparation is what we're doing to get ready for these games. We're breaking down film, we're doing long, shoot around walkthroughs. So we're prepared, and that's helped us mightily, and it puts us in a great position to win games. And, we're going to continue to do that until, the ball tips tonight.
So I got a question for both of you guys, and I just asked this to the guys at Sideline Cancer, right? You guys play pickup your whole lives. You go to the park, you play pickup. You go into a gym, you play pickup. You win, you stay on, you lose, you either go to the other court or you sit. Tonight, you're going to walk into that arena, all right, empty, which a lot of times you go to the park, it's empty, you're just competing, all right? And you're going to play a game for $1 million in front of no one but a national television audience. Like, Darius, what's that going to be like?
I think it's going to be just the way it has been for us. I mean, we know how big this game is for us. They were here last year. I wasn't. So I think our mindset, and I think everybody's mindset is, just take it one quarter at a time. It's a game at the end of the day, and we have to be locked in. And I know guys are locked in for this game. So we got to just keep rolling with the punches.
Travis, what's your message going to be? I know you're kind of like the wise old sage of the squad. Do you have any message that you're going to try to share with your guys?
You know, there's no group I'd rather go to battle with than these guys tonight. You know, there's a built-in camaraderie from most of us represent Marquette. Thankfully, I've gotten to play with a couple of them. I've played with DJ overseas. I coached a few of them when I went back to Marquette. So our camaraderie and chemistry is what's going to carry us tonight, and it's carried us in the previous years. And you know, like I said, there's no group that I'd rather go to war with than these guys tonight.
Coach Crean, if you were back with those guys right now in that moment, and let's say you took a team to the Final Four, what would your mindset, what would your message be to these guys that maybe they could share with their teammates? Because I know you can give a good little pregame speech, Coach.
Well, I actually
You already gave us one.
I actually sent one to Joe. I did a video earlier and sent it to Joe Chapman so that he's the coach, so I just sent it to him. He could disperse it whenever he wanted. But I would say this, and I would say this with Darius sitting there too, is that one of the keys to how great Marquette's success has been over a period of time is it wasn't about where you were ranked. It wasn't about the prototype position. It wasn't about you fit a metric. It was about that your heart, your attitude, your desire to compete, your toughness, those were immeasurable. And everything that this program has done to get to this place for tonight, okay, is enough, but now it's just got to be a little bit more. It's got to be a little bit more of that toughness. It's got to be a little bit more of that togetherness. The ball's got to move just a little bit faster, all right? There's got to be even more of a commitment to the hits on the blockouts, even a little bit quicker on the first couple steps up the court. You know, go to the line with even a little more concentration. And I think I just looking at these guys right now, I mean, this is serious business. This is game face. They're playing for a championship. And that's a group of guys that are not unaccustomed to being in big environments, big games. And I think Travis said it best, but I think that sums up what's been so great about Marquette is that there was always something that attached you. That name, that the fact that you went to Marquette, there was an automatic respect for the level of toughness that you had, for the level of commitment that you had, for the work ethic that you had, and for your willingness to be a great teammate. And I think that is what's going to show forth for those guys. I think it's been shining through. And I don't have a doubt in my mind that if they continue to do that, they'll come out champions tonight.
To win a championship, obviously, against the team you're playing, who's really had an interesting road, because they've beaten some really good teams. They've beaten Team Hines, Boeheim's Army, Team Challenge ALS, and obviously Overseas Elite. Marcus Keene's been really good without playing your hand, especially down the stretch in the Elam ending. What's the best way to contain him? Because he's kind of like you chop off the head and the body will fall. What do you guys think the best way to kind of keep him and contain him?
I'm going to say, you know, it's going to have to be a team effort. He's one hell of a player. So it's not going to just be one guy. It's going to be everybody. And we have to talk, communicate, locate him in transition. I think it's going to be one of the biggest things for us. He's a very quick guard who can shoot. He can get to the lane. He can create for others. So this is going to be a team effort. It's just not going to be up to one guy to defend him. And I think, you know, our voices and our bodies, you know, can give him problems.
Jamel's been really good for you, Travis. You guys move him around. I mean, is he a huge part of this? Obviously, we know he can score, but just in terms of the matchup problem he creates for, say, a guy like Eric Thompson, another big where you can move that guy in the action a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, Jamil's had incredible success in this tournament because of his ability to, you know, change positions. He can guard 1 through 5, and then offensively, with the way he can shoot the ball in space, you know, the court on offense is a major advantage for us. So we have extreme confidence in Jamil. I think this year more than ever, he's played with a great assertiveness. He's been aggressive in the low block when he gets a mismatch, which we haven't seen in years past, and that's key for us. We need him playing at a high level for us to be at our best, and he has been. And we're counting on him tonight, and he has extreme confidence in himself, and we have, you know, obviously a lot of confidence in the way he can deliver for us when it matters most.
Well, I'll tell you what, this has been fun to watch the past 11 days. Do you guys have anything to say, either one of you guys, to John Mugar for, like, let's face it, when he first came, he said, we're going to make this thing happen. how difficult has just the process of, or not the pressure of, you take that first test to be able to get a chance to come to Columbus, and those tests every single day, those first 5 days. Do you have anything to say to John Mugar and Albert Hall and just the TBT staff to make this thing happen? I mean, you guys have any words of wisdom?
I think we're extremely grateful in what they've done here, and they've kept us. First off, they've kept us safe and healthy, more so than worrying about the basketball. They've tested, they've kept us in quarantine. We've done a good job individually as well, but we're very grateful. I mean, the opportunity to play high-level basketball doesn't come around very often, you know, especially at my age when I'm winding down my career. Like, this is something I look forward to, and I'm very grateful that it's been put together to represent Marquette, to play with these guys again. So just thanks is pretty much all we can say. And I think from Marquette and all our guys, we're extremely, extremely grateful for this opportunity.
Yeah, just going off what you said, I think they've done a great job. I mean, after the first test and then just being in the bubble, you can see the progression of how serious they're taking it. And for a lot of guys, we don't know what's going to happen as far as playing in Europe or whatever. But being able to play on a national televised game, I think that brings a lot of joy to us and a lot of joy to other people who love the game.
No doubt about it. Well, you guys have been an incredible reflection of Marquette and of the TBT. And I know talking to Coach, who's a dear friend, how proud he is of all you guys and what you're doing. And just good luck. I mean, this has been great to be part of as a former coach to broadcast the games, but it's also been it's been fun to see you guys get lost in the game and get lost in your teammates and have that one shared experience again with a group. People, I'm not, and I say it all the time, our world has had issues. We could all learn from our locker rooms. We could all learn from our locker rooms, because one thing about locker rooms is great respect, there's great trust. People really understand giving up a little bit of themselves for the good of the group, making sacrifices, and caring about each other. And what you guys have been done, I mean, you think, Travis, you're 38 right now? Darius,
Yep.
How old are you right now? Who's the youngest guy in your team?
30. I think the youngest guy's 25, maybe 26.
Yeah, I mean, and yet you're all Marquette and you're all in it together and you all care about each other and that you all love each other and want to share this experience. I think this is a great lesson for society. And I thank you for that, because we need some of this stuff in our world today. And we need some of the guys like you guys saying we've been in a safe environment. And so when we're trying to ask people to wear a mask and practice social distancing because it's good for others and it's good for family and it's good for everyone, you guys are a great reflection of that. So I thank you so much. Have a great game tonight. Enjoy it.
Thanks for having us. Appreciate it.
All right. Be safe.
Great.
Coach Crean, let me ask you this. Those guys, by the way, it is so cool to see you with Travis, and I know how invested you are in every part of your journey and how much you love your players. I mean, and all that. I'm going to ask you a basketball question.
Go ahead.
How much fun would it be to coach with the Elam ending?
Oh, I think it'd be great. I really do. I love it. I love it. And I think the All-Star game last year in the NBA showed just how popular it is because of what it brings out competitively. It puts you on the edge of your seat. I mean, it absolutely does. It brings tremendous strategy. It's game planning inside of it. It's nerve-wracking, but everybody is on the edge of their seat. And not only does every possession and every shot matter, every pass matters. I mean, it just brings another level. And I know I'm going to practice a lot more with it. And because again, it builds that urgency, but that focus and concentration that you have to have. And end of game situations are so hard to come by that because again, what you want to eliminate is people that think it's about hero basketball or people that think possessions don't matter. No, every one of those possessions matter. All right, just like you look at it here, every one of those possessions matter to give yourself a lead so that you have the shorter distance to go, when the Elam ending comes in. Every shot matters, and I love it. And I think Fran Fraschilla said it best. There's a place for that inside of maybe the G League, inside of grassroots basketball. It would teach kids the value of high-level competitiveness throughout the entire game in an even better way.
I agree with you 100%. I think there's a lot of coaching to it, especially now if it's a common foul and it's one free throw and the ball on the side. Now you got to defend without fouling. You got to keep it in front. Obviously, offensively, you got to decide whether you can create a gap and drive it and kick, or drag and drive it and just shot fake someone and draw a common foul, play through someone's chest and get a common foul, so you can almost, in essence, get a 2-for-1. I think it's been incredible, and I think people are starting to realize that, you know what, this isn't a gimmick. This is it actually fosters good basketball, because, like you said, you can't have wasted possessions, you can't have empty possessions, because it impacts the Elam ending. And then when you get into the end of the game, you've got to be committed defensively, you've got to be committed offensively. You can't turn it over. I mean, you've got to utilize if you have the ball and you have a lead, when you're going to get that timeout so that you start with the ball. I mean, there's just a lot to it. And it's to me, it's a fun way to end a game, because almost every game ends on a winning shot.
Absolutely. And you know what else it eliminates, Seth? And I think this is the part of it that would be so good for the youth, and it would be good in the practices and things like that. It eliminates bad body language. It eliminates being down and getting distracted and making it about yourself. It eliminates all that. Like, there is a real urgency that you can find a way to win the game. Mm-hmm. I've said this to you before. In fact, I think we were together actually when he said it to me. But Jim Boylan one time, who was the assistant of the Bulls at the time, but then obviously became the head coach, he said the number one problem for the modern day NBA player is how they handle in-game failure. And we're talking about multimillionaires, right? I mean, and it comes down to they get down, they get upset, they can't move on. I mean, it doesn't matter who they are. The best move on pretty quickly. You have no choice but to move on in the Elam ending, because there's hope. It gives everybody hope inside of it. And I think that's a great place to be when it teaches competitiveness and urgency.
All right, let's move on to what's going on right now. Obviously, you're back in Athens.
Yeah.
Is your team back on campus? What are you able to do with your guys? Because let's face it, I mean, the summer, as you know, and you emphasize, I used to emphasize, is such a huge part of player development, getting guys to understand, improve their individual skills, improve their understanding of concepts, so that your team individually and collectively can get better. Where are you guys at with workouts, being able to be with your guys, player development at this juncture?
Well, it's a tough place. I mean, there's no doubt about it, because it comes down to that individual player development. And we're still not on the floor at all with them as coaches. We're not even in the weight room with them. That will begin for us on the 20th, when the countable athletic related activity kicks in. And there's still going to be limitations with that. What I've done, Seth, is brought them back in stages, because if you're going to get some team building, and I think they're getting that in the workouts, be it the weight room or be it we're training at the baseball field. Right now these guys are, rather than the football turf, they're training outside. And so, I think there's some camaraderie being built with that, even though we're not out there for it to see it and to drive it. So I think that part of it's good. You want kids to get their voice, and I think that's been good for us. But we're way behind in being able to coach these guys, and so it really comes down to, I brought guys back in different stages based on what they had access to, what they were getting done, what they needed to do, and some that I haven't even brought back yet, I know are in really good situations with their workouts. And so I didn't want to disrupt somebody that's getting a chance to work out a couple of times a day, getting to go against competition, has good access. And we'll bring them back as we go. But the number one thing is we've got to keep developing players' games. And then as we get together, hopefully that builds that level of mutual respect that any team has got to develop. We're missing that shared adversity. We go through adversity, but we're missing the shared part.
Right.
And so we'll get to that. But right now, the most important thing is for these guys to build a level of confidence in their game, a level of toughness in their game, find their voice around their teammates when they're back here, and then we start to bring it together as we can start to get on the court here next week.
What's your gut feeling in speaking to administrators on the chance for us to have sport in November, December, basketball season? I'm again just your gut in terms of being around your administration.
Well, my gut is that we will have it, but I haven't really asked because, I mean, so much has been centered on what's going to happen with football and the fall sports, which I think is going to be a driving force for us.
Sure.
And I do think, obviously, what's going to happen with how much can you be tested, who has the access to the testing. I think those things are going to continue to play into it. And I think my hope, I don't have a great gut. My gut is, like I said, that we would play. My hope is that we don't lose non-conference. I mean, that would be my hope. I mean, I don't want to lose anything. I don't want to lose any days. And I know there's always those possibilities, but I haven't spent a lot of time really thinking about that as much as trying to stay true to what these guys have got to do on a daily basis, and then how we're going to mix the groups, because we'll be at different rules when we get back with them starting the 20th. Like, this group will be able to do this. This group won't be able to do that yet. Those type of things, which is fine. I mean, that's a choice that you make. But the bottom line is, I don't think anybody's going to allow us to put people in situations where the risk is extremely high. And I think that's a good place to be. And I know, being in this league, and like, we have a trainer here, Ron Corson, that's our head trainer. He's the football trainer, but he's on the SEC task force. He's got so much knowledge, so much experience, and yet day after day, he's learning new things. So when you find the people, and I think our commissioner, Greg Sankey's done a really good job of that. They haven't jumped the gun in any of these situations. They're listening to the science. They're listening to he references a biostatistician from South Carolina, that there's not a big push to make decisions early. And I think as long as we stay true to that and listen to the science, because I know as a parent, I know as a leader of a team, I'm really only interested in listening. I'm not really interested in what somebody has to say that has an idea or a thought or a hope. I'm far more interested in who I think has got some knowledge based on experience and clarity, and is surrounded by other people that have knowledge and experience.
And your school is planning on having students back on campus?
Sure. Yes. And they're going through the process right now of how it's going to work academically. But everything is still set to start school on August 20th. Now, I don't know, I have a daughter that's going to enter high school this year, and in the surrounding areas, I don't think anything has been solidified completely there yet. And then we have to make decisions as parents too, Seth. As you know, you're a parent. I mean, I'm all for listening to experts, and I'm all for listening to people that are in charge, but I'm all for being a parent too, right? And that's where, for me, I have more thought process on the families on the other side of this. These decisions are all made what is going to be best for their kid, not as what is going to be made best for our basketball program, what is going to be made best for their kid, because I want the same thing done for my kids. And I think that's where I try to have my base of thought at.
All right, back to the TBT to finish up. For Marquette Golden Eagles to win, they must what?
They can't foul and put those guys. They can't put that team on the foul line. They can't let Maurice create contact inside. They can't let Marcus Keene get to the rim. They can't let Remy get to the rim. They can't let Eric Thompson and the frontline guys get second shots. I think the foul line will be a big key there, and they've got to be able to get runouts. They've got to be able to get their break going.
All right. If you were defending Marcus Keene in those slot and middle ball screens, what's the best way to defend him?
I think he's got to see traffic. I think he's got to see traffic constantly. I think he's got to see the elbows covered. I think he's got to, whether it's a trap, whether it's a zone, mixing coverages, whatever it is, I think he puts that head down and goes. And I have a lot of respect for him. I'm a Central Michigan grad, so I followed his career for a long time. He just puts that head down and goes. And Remy Abel gets a full head of steam and goes. And I just think to stop those kind of guys, you either got to keep the ball out of their hands, which is a lot easier said than done, or they have got to see traffic that forces them to kick the ball or settle for tough shots.
If you had one guy that has to show today and play at a high level for the Golden Eagles, who would it have to be?
I think Jameel Wilson's got to stay in character and take good shots, rebound the ball well. But I think Dwight Bikes has got to come in and have a really good game. I think Travis is going to play well. It's money time. I think Darius Johnson-Odom, Mo Acker, I think those guys are going to play well. I don't think there's any doubt about it. Luke Fisher's going to make buckets. But Jamil has got to stay in character, and Dwight's got to really bring something to this. And he's fully capable. There's no doubt about it.
Who would you start on Keene? Would you start DJ on Keene or bigger, stronger player?
I would, yeah, absolutely. I'd give him mixed coverages. I'd pick him up full court. I would guard that ball full court as much as possible. And I would try to make it tough. You can't let him get in a straight line, right? So make it tough for him to get the ball back, and then make sure that you're trying to get him to change direction based on the help, because it's really, really hard to get him to change direction in a one-on-one matchup. So you've got to create that help, which forces him to change direction. But yeah, I would say Darius Johnson-Odom, but I would mix, when you got a team like that, I would mix defenders on them. I really would. But you can't let, as you know, and I know fully well, I mean, we were talking about this today because we had a guy on our staff that didn't know as much about Maurice Creek. Maurice Creek had 31 points against John Wall and DeMarcus Cousins and Patrick Patterson as a freshman at Indiana. 31 points.
First game, right?
Well, his freshman year. It wasn't his first game of the year. It was one of the first games. And then obviously what Mo Creek did, perseverance of injury, is just unbelievable. And to see the level of play that he's at right now, I mean, it makes you feel great. I mean, he was an Indiana grad. His body was just, it was so hard for him to play at the level that he was used to. Then he goes to GW and he does a great job, and he's continuing to make an excellent career of this. But like, that guy could score with anybody in the country. When he got hurt his freshman year, he was the leading scorer for freshmen in the country at 17 a game. And so, like, you're seeing it now. Like, he can get the step back. He can create contact and hit you. He can hit the open three. You know, he can get out in transition. You know, it's going to be a great game. It really is. And I think at the end of the day, the bigs, and I use this with Jamil, the bigs that stay in character the best. And you say get lost in the game, which you're exactly right. But don't try to make the game about you, right? If you start holding the ball, taking shots that aren't there, jab step, shoot, those are bad places to be. And I think, you know, both teams have showed they will really move the ball, and they've got enough players that can break you down and beat you. And that's why I think mixing up the coverages on a kid like Keene, because his straight line driving is as good as anybody's in the tournament.
Yeah, he's good. Well, Tom, thank you so much. I know you're going to be locked in tonight.
I will.
Enjoy it, man. I mean, I think it's really cool that not only are you with those guys, but they want, you know, you could see the camaraderie in the relationship. And, you know, everyone talks about coaches. It's one of my pet peeves, by the way, is that people think that coaches, well, you know, they're using guys just to win. No, coach, the relationship you develop with your players lasts a lifetime. It starts, there's a ton of different layers to it. Obviously, it starts in the recruiting process. It obviously changes a little bit when the player gets on campus, but the relationship the coaches have with their players is so special, and people do not understand it's bigger than basketball. And just listen to Travis talk to you, and you and I have had a bunch of conversations about those guys. It's probably the thing that when you don't have a team, you miss the most. And it was really cool to listen to you, talking to those guys.
But you know what you have, and it's the same thing. And you have this, and I've seen it. I've seen it in our friendship. I've seen it in your coaching. I've seen it in your TV, and I've seen it in your social media. Your former players love you, right? And when you have that kind of relationship with them, that's what you strive for. When you're coaching day to day right now, and you're coaching in the present, your whole vision is how do you get to that place with those guys? You have that. I like to think I have that. Something that changed me when I went to the TBT 2 years ago, took my family to Georgia State. The emotion that I had for nervousness, for excitement, I wanted to cry, right? Like, I'm out there watching these kids that I have
Joni did.
With. Huh?
I said Joni did.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and then the way they win the game, I mean, those are the days that get you through the hard days, because you know that there's an end result to this, that if you work through it, you live through it, you persevere through it, you don't tell them what they want to hear, that you keep demanding from them to be great. And then you see the way these guys interact, and it's just an awesome feeling. And you've got that. I mean, and I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but I think everybody needs to see it. I say this to Fran Fraschilla, relationships that you guys have, those don't go away. And what you've done to impact people in their lives as a coach and as a leader and as their friend and as a grown caretaker of their future is unbelievable. And that's how I feel sitting there watching it tonight. It's awesome.
That's awesome, man. Stay safe. Make sure those people wear their masks and practice social distancing so we can get
Absolutely.
back.
Mine will go back on here in a second.
So that we can go back to living the life that we want. Control your controllables and be comfortable being uncomfortable. Man, I appreciate your friendship. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Seth. Tell everybody hi. Tell Karen hi.
All right, pal. Same here. That is this edition of Pickup Game with Seth Greenberg and Tom Crean. You could just see the relationship that he had with those guys and the connection, and it's so much bigger than basketball, and the TBT is so much bigger than basketball, and the TBT is so much bigger than the $1 million. It really is a family, and for Hall Pass Media, for John Mugar, for Tupelo Productions. I mean, let me tell you something. It's been an incredible journey the last 11 days. And I'm just honored to be part of it. So enjoy the game tonight. Let me tell you something. This will be a high-level game. Two competitive teams that know how to play, that have guys that can make plays, that have great team trust. They're playing for more than $1 million, though. They're playing to hang that banner. They're playing for that trophy. They're playing for that ring. Marcus Keene said it best. He said, you know what? The money's one thing, but I haven't won a championship in a long time. So enjoy the game, and thanks so much for watching.